Well, let me tell you about a guy who makes our worst days look like a walk in the park. His name is Job, and his story is one of the wildest in the Bible. Seriously, it really, really sucked to be Job. So, who is this guy? The book starts by telling us Job was the greatest man among all the people of the East. He was crazy rich. We're talking 7,000 sheep, 3,000 camels, 500 yoke of oxen, 500 donkeys, and a ton of servants. He also had a big, happy family, 7 sons and 3 beautiful daughters. He was a good guy too. Blameless, upright, feared God, and stayed away from evil. Life was perfect. Almost too perfect. This is where things get weird. Up in the heavenly realms, God is having a meeting with the angels. And guess who crashes the party? Satan. God's like, "Hey, have you seen my servant Job? There's no one on earth like him." And Satan, being the ultimate cynic, basically says, "Yeah, right? He only loves you because you've blessed him. Take away all his stuff, and he'll curse you to your face." So God agrees to this cosmic bet. He tells Satan, "All right, do what you want with his possessions, but don't lay a finger on the man himself." And just like that, Job's perfect life implodes. In one single, catastrophic day, messenger after messenger arrives with terrible news. First, his oxen and donkeys are stolen, and the servants are killed. Then, fire from the sky. Yep, fire from the sky burns up all his sheep and their shepherds. Next, raiders steal all his camels and kill the servants. It's an absolute wipeout of his entire fortune. But the worst blow comes last. The final messenger tells him that while his 10 children were having a party, a mighty wind collapsed the house, and they were all gone. All of them, in a single moment. Can you even imagine that? He loses his entire livelihood, and all 10 of his children in the span of a few hours. It's a level of tragedy that's almost impossible to comprehend. So, what does Job do? He tears his robe, shaves his head, falls to the ground, and worships. He says, "Naked I came from my mother's womb, and naked I will depart. The Lord gave, and the Lord has taken away. May the name of the Lord be praised." He doesn't curse God. Round 1 of this celestial test, Job passes. But Satan's not done. He goes back to God and says, "Okay, fine. But a man will give up everything for his own life. Let me touch his body, and he'll definitely curse you." And God says, "All right, he's in your hands, but you must spare his life." So Satan afflicts Job with painful sores from the soles of his feet to the crown of his head. He's in constant agonizing pain, sitting in a pile of ashes, scraping his sores with a piece of broken pottery. His own wife, seeing his misery, tells him, "Are you still maintaining your integrity? Curse God and die." But Job refuses. He tells her she's talking foolishly. Shall we accept good from God and not trouble? Then his 3 best friends show up, Eliphaz, Bildad, and Zophar. When they see him from a distance, he's so disfigured they don't even recognize him. They sit with him in silence for 7 days and 7 nights because they see his suffering is so great. For a week, nobody says a word. That's how bad it was. Finally, Job breaks the silence. And this is where it really sucks to be Job. He doesn't curse God, but he curses the day he was born. He wishes for death, for an end to his suffering. He's confused, heartbroken, and completely in the dark about why this is happening. He has no idea about the conversation between God and Satan. From his perspective, his perfect, righteous life has been destroyed for no reason at all. And this is when his friends, who are supposed to be there to comfort him, start to talk. And boy, do they make things worse. Their basic argument, over and over, is that Job must have done something wrong. God is just, they say, so if you're suffering this much, you must be a secret sinner. Eliphaz says, "Who, being innocent, has ever perished?" Bildad compares Job's children to weeds being pulled out. Zophar tells him to get rid of the sin in his hand. For 35 chapters, they go back and forth. Job defends his innocence, crying out to God for an answer, for a trial, for just a moment to plead his case. But his friends just double down, accusing him of pride, injustice, and all sorts of hidden sins. They're not comforting him. They're kicking him while he's down, turning his physical and emotional agony into a theological beatdown. They were supposed to be his support system, but they became his accusers. Imagine being at your absolute lowest, and your closest friends tell you it's all your fault. After everyone has had their say, a younger man named Elihu speaks up, basically telling everyone they're wrong, but his speeches don't help much either. Job is still left alone, in pain and confused. Finally, after all the human arguments are exhausted, God himself speaks to Job, but he doesn't give Job the neat, tidy answer he was looking for. He doesn't explain the bet with Satan. Instead, God answers Job out of a whirlwind and basically puts him in his place with a series of mind-bending questions. Where were you when I laid the earth's foundation? Have you ever given orders to the morning? Do you know the laws of the heavens? Can you hunt the prey for the lioness? God reveals his immense power and wisdom, showing Job just how small and limited human understanding really is. It's a humbling experience. Job, faced with the sheer majesty of the creator of the universe, realizes he has been speaking of things he did not understand. He repents, not for some secret sin, but for his own arrogance in questioning God's justice. And in the end, God restores Job's fortunes. He gives him double what he had before: 14,000 sheep, 6,000 camels, 1,000 yoke of oxen, and 1,000 donkeys. He also gives him another 7 sons and 3 daughters, who are said to be the most beautiful women in all the land. Job lives for another 140 years, seeing his children and his children's children to the 4th generation. So it sucked to be Job, because he lost everything: his wealth, his health, and most devastatingly, his children. He suffered unimaginable physical pain and was betrayed by his friends. He endured all of this without any explanation, a pawn in a cosmic drama he knew nothing about. His story is a raw, unflinching look at suffering, but it's also a story of incredible endurance and faith in the face of the unthinkable. It reminds us that sometimes there are no easy answers to life's hardest questions. Thanks for watching. If you found this story as fascinating as I do, hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into history, mythology, and ancient texts. See you next time.